Now let's take a look at Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. This is the longest bridge in the world that runs continuously over water. There's longer bridges, but this is the longest one in the U.S. and again, the longest one in the world that runs continuously over water at 24 miles. And at 24 miles, let's take a look here at the supposed ball earth curvature rate based on 24 miles. So at 24 miles, let's take a look here and so we get 384 feet. And let's take a look again at Lake Pontchartrain. And the aspect of perspective really needs to be understood before moving forward when it comes to this bridge in particular, as we get this side angle. And I'm going to put pause right here. And as you can see, the concrete pilings as you move your way along the bridge. And obviously, when you get towards the end, it appears it's actually in the water. And this is, again, about perspective. Just as you see here, the telephone poles are the same height, but due to perspective, the nearest one looks the tallest, and the one in the distance obviously looks shorter. And obviously, there's something called the vanishing point. Just like you see here, it's just a depiction, but these are real, of course, utility lines, utility poles. And obviously the one closest looks the tallest, the one in the distance looks like it's going down. It's not due to curvature, it's just due to how the human eye works, again, perspective. Just like the sun, how it works in the sky. It doesn't sink per se, it's just due to perspective and how the human eye works. It remains at constant height as it circles above the flat earth. Due to perspective, it only appears to go down, but in actuality the sun never sets. And take a look at this footage out at sea with a digital camera zooming in at the sun when it appears to be setting, and you zoom in and it comes back into full display. This shows without a shadow of a doubt that the sun doesn't actually set. It's just due to perspective, like I showed earlier, clear as day. Same exact concept with the utility, the telephone poles, and as I demonstrated here in this model. So these models that are shown match our observed reality as well. Now getting back on topic with Lake Pontchartrain, again at 24 miles, which would calculate at 384 feet when it comes to the so-called curvature rate. Now just for reference, let's take a look at the Statue of Liberty, 301 feet tall, from the bottom to the very top of the torch itself. And as you can see, obviously, the Statue of Liberty in the New York Harbor. And for comparison, let's compare the size to a human on ground level. As you can see here, very tall. And again, 301 feet tall compared to 384 feet. That would be the drop for Lake Pontchartrain from one end to another. And just another perspective from the very top. And this is back from 1985 when they replaced the torch itself. And as you can see, it's a very long way down. And that gets into, again, Lake Pontchartrain, which we can see from this vantage point. Obviously very flat as a pancake. And again, due to perspective, the concrete supporters, the pilings, as you can see, they appear taller here. In the distance, they appear to be in the water itself. And this is, again, due to perspective and how the human eye works. And for reference, an overhead view of Lake Pontchartrain and the bridge itself. And let's get to this time-lapse footage. As you can see here, I inserted, just for reference, the Statue of Liberty in the water itself. Now you tell me, is there any deviation in the bridge itself that would quantify 384 feet of curvature? Again, the Statue of Liberty itself at 301 feet, and all we see is flat water. And this bridge, for the most part, there are peaks and valleys, as you can see right here, and that's not due to the so-called curve of the earth. That's just based on the bridge construction itself. And I guarantee you, if you ask the engineers who constructed this bridge itself, if you ask them, did you put the curvature of the earth into consideration when building this bridge, and they'll look at you like a deer in headlights. they'll have no response whatsoever, because they obviously do not calculate the so-called curvature of the earth when they constructed this bridge. And again, there are some peaks and valleys in this bridge. There's ups and downs, but nothing in the realm of a 384-foot drop when it comes to the so-called ball earth. I'll play this a little bit more. Again, this is a time lapse, obviously, but this is a 24-mile bridge, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get to the very end, but we're getting there. And again, no way there's nearly a 400-foot drop from start to finish. Flat as a pancake, no doubt whatsoever. We live on a flat earth. Not only that, it's obviously stationary, God created, and again, unfortunately, the majority of society has been brainwashed, blinded by science, and anytime you present the truth, no matter how objective the proof is, it'll be denied, it'll be ignored, because that's how powerful the programming is.
Tell us what emotions you had.
Well, when I was standing outside that capsule, it was a very quiet and peaceful moment, you know. At that moment, you look at the world, it looks very fragile. You could see the curvature of the earth.
You've been lied to by textbooks, and that dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon, what's his name? Felix Baumgartner, he would have been about 2 millimeters above the surface of this globe. That's his edge of space jump. Now, you know, I don't, it's fine. He wants to, I don't have a problem if he does it, but the honesty of it would greatly diminish what I think people thought he was actually doing. And not only that, they made sure to photograph him standing there with a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. Right. So in the photo, you see this curvature of Earth's surface, and he said, wow, he's in space, look at that.
You could see the curvature of the earth.
No, he's not. At that height, you don't see the curvature of the earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You just don't. That stuff is flat. That stuff is flat.